Jim, something we haven't done in a while.
What?
The Metal Voice book review.
Oh, the Metal Voice book review.
And you know, I'm lucky every Christmas time I get to go out and I buy myself, treat myself to a lot of these books that are out there.
Instead of some Shakespeare book you got.
That's right. One that just came out, just finished reading. Look at that cover. Is that a beautiful picture?
Yeah.
Peter Criss's.
Yeah.
From Makeup to Breakup. There we go. Jim, what do you do? What do you think of this book?
I don't know what it is, Alan. I'm reading. It's amazing. It's like watching a Quentin Tarantino movie. It's like you're getting every perspective there is in the story of Kiss. So you had Gene's version, right?
Kiss and
tells
Makeup.
it, you know, the sort of like the capitalistic kind of version.
There
right?
you go. This book. Here.
The capitalist version of it all.
Makeup.
Then you had Ace, really the spacey version of what happened.
No Regrets, which we also spoke about in a previous book club review.
Today the big nut is not here.
No big nuts.
And now Peter Criss, he's giving us his perspective.
Yeah.
Who's right, who's wrong, I guess it's just a question of who's talking, right?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, you know, Kiss and Makeup, you got Gene's perspective, and Gene's perspective was, hey, you know, Ace and Peter were out of it all the time, and they were holding us back, and we had to do something, and then Ace came along, and in No Regrets, I think he said, look, this whole Kiss dolls and Kiss lunchboxes. What was that about? I came into rock and roll because it was dangerous. We were a rebel band. We were doing stuff that nobody was doing. His hero was Keith Richards. He lived a life like Keith Richards. And now Peter Criss comes along. So what's fun about this, you got a lot of the same stories. You figure, you know, these guys have been around forever, that they would have different stories, but it's the same ones that always seem to spark their interest. You got Gene's, and that's what's fun too.
It's all perspective.
You got 3 different perspectives on the same story, and it's basically 3 different versions.
And I love reading them because it's like a soap opera.
That's right.
It's a soap opera. It's like, okay, who's gonna tell off who and who's gonna blame who? And,
now, on Peter's book here, basically his time with Kiss, how they started, how they got together, and that's a very small part of the book.
Yeah.
The majority of the book is Peter complaining because he didn't get as much money than Paul and Gene, or the respect. And Gene's perspective was, well, Paul and I did everything, and we tried to get these other guys to do more, but they were lazy, they didn't want to. And Peter's perspective was, hey, we had the songs, we were willing to do it, and we were always relegated to not have them on or pushed aside. Or even when he went to do songs that like Hard Luck Woman, apparently Peter had Paul standing over him, over his shoulder, telling him exactly how to sing. Peter was a soulful singer, that's his background, the R&B and Motown, so he wanted to just go and do his version, but Paul was strict and said, you got to sing note to note like I wanted heard. And anyway, so that's what I'm saying. But then it's complaining about how afterwards, you know, money came into play, and reunion tours, and how he wasn't getting paid as much. But again, I think all these different versions, again, there's some truth in the middle, maybe all between all of them. I think Peter also could understand, you know, where did lunchboxes come into to rock and roll. But at the same time, he was a heavy coke addict, and it took him years until he got sober. So that would kind
don't want to give it all away.
No, kind of leave some credence to Gene's version as well.
So you know, Alan, it's just Peter Criss. It's interesting how all 3 of them, you get a sense of their background.
Right.
Peter and Ace had this poor upbringing,
tough side of town,
gang, where Gene was, again, another poor kid who was an immigrant, right, from Israel.
She went to
Paul. We yet to see what his story's like.
Paul grew up in the same area as Gene. Yeah. So they were, and Gene brought that up, and even Peter brings up they're from 2 different sides of the tracks. Yeah. They joked about it that Peter and Ace in the gangs used to chase some of the Jewish kids. Yeah. And then they joked about it years later with Gene and Paul saying, hey, you might have been some of the kids we were chasing at that time, you know? So this week's metal debate's going to tie into this, okay?
Yes.
Here we go.
Yes.
Gene, Paul carried the torch for years.
Yes.
Ace and Peter left. They carried the torch. They weren't as successful in the 80s and early 90s as in the... No, probably not. They carried the torch. They do the reunion tour. They got a chance to go out, give, you know, Paul, they all needed the money at that point, let's face it. Ace and Peter probably more than Gene and Paul. When they signed the reunion tour, Ace and Peter got less money. So this is this week's metal debate. Was it justified that Gene and Paul get more money on the reunion tour than Peter and Ace? What do you think there, Jim?
Well, I'm going to give you my perspective. We might have actually the same answer to this. Contract is a contract is a contract. They knew the person who takes the most risk, and that was Gene and Paul. They took their own money. They invested into this huge reunion tour. They set it all up. They gave Ace and Peter a chance to come back, be part of the band, get paid well. We're talking in the millions. And they signed a contract to it, that they were just a paid employee, and they agreed to that contract. Now, Peter and Ace saw that it was bigger than what they thought it was, and it was a lot more lucrative than it was. Therefore, then they say, well, they saw the money, they saw how much profit there was, they didn't want to renegotiate their contract. I believe Gene actually did renegotiate Ace's contract, give him a little bit more money.
About $10,000 more per show than Peter.
Something like
that. And
that.
Ace always wanted more money than Peter.
It's difficult because Peter and Ace built the brand Kiss, and now they're saying, well, give us our... But then again, they didn't take all the risk either. They were all basically on the streets, these guys. They had like $100,000 to their name that from all these years of being in Kiss. So I would say the contract, they signed it, well, they got to stick to it.
So you're saying it was deserved?
It was deserved.
Okay. Yeah, Jim, before reading this book, Peter Criss's book, I would agree with you. That's what I always thought, because I got Gene's perspective on that. And Ace barely remembers any of that tour. He was so out of it. Okay? Reading Peter's account was, hey, they were in dire straits.
Yeah.
Their albums weren't selling. They were going to half-filled places.
Yeah.
The fact that Peter was back, and say what you want about Peter Criss, he's probably the guy that everybody likes the most.
Yeah.
Growing up as kids, everybody wanted to be the cat.
No, I want to be Ace.
Okay, you want to be Ace.
Spacey.
But he's a guy that if you could walk into a room, everybody would be attracted to him, I think.
Yeah.
Peter's point was, without him and Ace, there was not going to be any of these millions or any of these. Paul needed some of the money at that time. So his version was he deserved, as a founding member, he was one of the first 3 in the band, he would deserve the same kind of money as the rest, and I think there is something to say with that. If there wasn't a reunion tour, they probably had fizzled out, and like they're playing now, I'm not sure how successful. They have to team up. They teamed up with Aerosmith. They just finished a North American tour with Motley Crue. They got to go get another huge band to help fill up the sheds. So that was his point. Again, yes, you sign a contract. But Peter Criss in the book alludes to he was lied to time and time again. He was told he was going to get a certain percentage. Then Ace got more. He was not going to get merchandise, and he fought again. I didn't have the piggyback. But
Gene's perspective was always you were never at those meetings, right?
They were never.
You were never at the meetings.
Yeah.
Peter's argument then Peter says, "Well, I was allowed at the meetings." Gene's saying, "Well, we informed you, but you're too wasted to even understand what was."
But again, Peter was sober at that time.
We don't know. We weren't there. Right?
We're just going to go with a different version. But one mistake that Peter did, he admits to it now, was he went in and represented those reunion tours with Ace's manager, George Stewart, who used to be Kiss's manager and got fired. So right away, he went in with George and Ace were like this for years. He went and piggybacked on while you knew that he was going to take Ace's side over Peter's. So, but again, the money was there. That's why he stuck with the tour, because he needed the money at that point. And you sign a contract. His whole argument is he was lied to constantly, like the Aerosmith tour. He signed for less. They didn't think they would go to big places. Aerosmith jumped on board last minute, and all of a sudden, all the income goes up as well. So it's surprise after surprise like that. So I would have to say, you know what, founding members, without them coming back, and they would never sold out
that's a very good point.
The stadium in 47 minutes in Michigan to start off the tour. At 47 minutes, why they sold it out in 47 minutes, because Ace and Peter were there. So there is some credibility to that. And so, again, originally I thought, like you, but reading the book, I think there was some perspective where...
You're a good person, Alan. You've got a good heart, Alan. They
might have deserved a little bit more than they actually
got. Cruel and mean. I'm black and white, Alan.
So there you go. It was a worthwhile read. I mean, a lot of it was...
It was a repeat of a different perspective.
So that's this week's Metal Debate. Let us know how you think. Is that Peter and Ace, did they deserve to get less money on their famous comeback tour with the full makeup and the pyromania and pyrotechnics and the Gene spitting blood again? Did they deserve to get less than Gene and Paul on that tour?
Right. Anyways, thanks for watching another edition of The Metal Voice.
The Metal Voice.